All right, so we have another finals, quote unquote, qualifying match, and this one is versus Team Sultans Shark Gui versus Lion King, and I don't mean the movie. Good to see a lot of Team Sultans representation here. Team Sultans Trevo also qualified in the EU tournament as a heads up, so good to see a lot of Sultans representation going into this invitational. So we'll see if Shark Gui is able to qualify here versus Lion King. So let's go ahead and get started with the gameplay. We got this.
Okay, so fun fact, there is actually someone in the tournament named Sharkbait.
Yeah. This is not Sharkbait, this is SharkGui. And we are getting into game one of what we'll call the finals, one of the finals for now. SharkGui of Team Sultans versus Lion King. I'm actually going to go ahead and update that name too because I've been trying to maintain the teams in front of people's names
Team representation.
Yeah, to kind of...
And that's a Heimerdinger, I think I spied over there with my little eye. It's a Heimer Lux deck on the side of Lion King. I got confused by the name being Zhao in the actual Runeterra client.
All right, so let's see what we got here. I actually didn't pull up the decks just yet, so do you have anybody's decks pulled up?
Well, okay, so I have SharkGui's decks pulled up, and then Lion King submitted deck codes.
Lion King. So I
was like, okay, I'll see the deck, I'll take a look at it, but now he's playing Luxheimer, and I got to pull that deck up. As much of a hassle as it is for us to pull up deck codes, that's not it. He's playing Ramp Soul elsewhere in the lineup.
Why deck codes? Why must you do this to us?
It's always the last one. It's always the last one, but it's Ramp Soul Deep and Heimer Lux.
Heimer Lux. So we saw one other Heimer deck, and I believe it was from Gavone that played, right?
Yep.
So what do we got with this good old Heimer deck?
We got, Mage Seeker, Persuader, and Vanguard Sergeant. Those are the only followers in the deck. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, I like it. Spicy.
We actually have, so let's talk protection for Heimer. We have 2 Rangers Resolve. We have 3 Prismatic Barrier. That's it. Oh, we have back-to-back. We have 1 back-to-back. So the thing that is interesting about the sort of synergies between Lux and Heimer now is that both of them really want those 6-cost spells. The sort of awkward part is that, you see that Vile Feast all the way to the right in SharkGui's hand? That says kill a 6-drop out of Zhao T's deck. That says kill the 6-1 elusive turret.
Wow, yeah. And wow, so 2 really different decks already too from SharkGui and Zhao, or Lion King. Which one are we going with for the duration of this match? Lion King or Zhao?
Lion King. Generally, I like to go with the name that the players tell us or sign up with in Smash GG, because you sometimes you can't change your in-game name like Gavone and Chad and Zeramis and Brachkata.
Yeah, yep. So we'll go with Lion King.
So yeah, Heimer Lux versus Zombie Ash. Of course, as casters, we have done our full depth of research and we know all matchups. So we can really tell you about how this one plays out, right? Shit, go ahead, take it away.
Guys, did I say I had to go to the bathroom? Because this is a perfect time for me to do that. So tell me how the Poro matchup goes with this too.
So baseline, looking at the 2 deck lists, I'm inclined to say that Lion King doesn't have an answer for the Harrowing. Just straight up and down, no answer for the Harrowing. Also doesn't have protection for the Heimer into a Vengeance. So I want to say that SharkGui is going to be favored here. There's actually not a whole lot in the way of straight up removal. And anytime I see an Ash deck into something that's trying to play Demacia removal, I'm going to feel like that is going to be favored for the Ash deck. We're seeing single combat. We're not seeing any copies of, what's it called? Concerted Strike. We are seeing Relentless Pursuits. I really can't express how many different spells are in this Lux Heimer deck.
Hey, that's what Lux and Heimer want, right? They want spells. So maybe, obviously Lion King has been able to make it this far with all those spells in the deck, so it seems to be working for him. We'll see how those actually work out here. That's crazy. I'm so happy to see these Heimer decks actually doing good. But oddly enough, we kept talking about Lee Sin all day. We still haven't seen one in the top cut.
Yeah, maybe it's just the ones that we haven't. There's got to be Lee Sin players in Top Cut, right?
Yeah, there has to be. We just
be.
haven't seen them, I think. It's just, it's unfortunate that we haven't been able to cast one of them yet in Top Cut. So, but we got Heimer and we got Elites. So I'm gonna call this a win for us today so far. We do see the Mystic Shot come out and the Babbling Bird gonna push through that 3 damage on the side of SharkGui. So Lux is on the field and staying on the field. We'll see if it's able to push out a Vengeance from Shark. I imagine, do you always save the Vengeance for Heimer here?
I don't know how threatening I actually feel by a Heimer. I mean, there are Relentless Pursuits in the deck, which makes it really weird. I feel like that does make the Heimer a little more threatening, but I mean, there are. Let me check for Withering Wails. There are no Withering Wails on the side of SharkGui, which I don't blame him for. That's a card that is a little bit awkward now that there is nothing like a Heimer deck in the format. You know, that one damage thing. Oh, Tri-Beam Improbulator.
Yes, this is the spice I need in my life.
And there's no way to level Lux here. She is only at 2 out of 6.
So actually, curiously enough, only 2 Tri-Beam Improbulator in this deck, which, I mean, if I were, I kind of wanted the whole Flash of Brilliance Tri-Beam thing to work out. My first thought was just max out on all of them, and I don't know, yeah, only 2, but working out here for the time being, not the greatest card.
Giving your opponent a draw.
I mean, you get one
feels a little awkward.
You know, it's it's not the greatest, but I feel like you want to. I mean, do you ever try to hold Tri-Beam Improbulator, or is that something maybe Lion King has just realized? No, when I have this card, I need to try to get it out as soon as possible.
I mean, the Rhymefang Wolf is a serious threat. That is sort of the, I guess, base of the Zombie Ash deck that I love so much, and it's why I tell players that I think this deck is still good, is the presence that Rhymefang Wolf represents. And there's a lot of Frostbite effects in the deck to help get it done. And Challenger units are one of the biggest threats to Heimer. You can go ahead and play a lot of, sort of protection spells of like, oh, I have Ranger's Resolve and I have Prismatic Barrier. Neither one of those gets through a Rhymefang Wolf if we have a Frostbite effect.
Yeah, good to see the Rhymefang Wolf adaptation again. We always talk about how this kind of falls in and falls out in this particular deck or other kind of Frostbite control-y type decks with Ash. And already, had to get rid of it on the side of Lion King early on there. But we do see some more damage coming through from SharkGui early on with these Babbling Bjergs just really actually being able to be aggressive for him. Man, not the best remembrance either.
It's not a bad one. I think that in traditional control matchups, if this was something like Karina control, you would absolutely love to just get the opportunity to get another free unit. And I mean, think about this, if you will. Sithria the Bold plus Heimerdinger.
Mm-hmm. That
just all those multiple X2 turrets with Fearsome all coming in at your opponent. That is a real possibility to pop out of the Swiftwing Lancer.
Yeah, that is a big deal if he is able to rip a Sithria like that. But for the time being, just going to challenge a unit, start to remove some of the field that SharkGui has developed, and straight into wow. Okay.
I was about to say, I think he's just checking what's going to come out of it next turn. We've seen players play the Harrowing before and forget that they don't have the attack token.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would have been a little rough.
And it looks like, as long as you float the mana here, you don't have to play anything. You could throw that on the Bjerg if you really wanted to, but honestly, it's not that important. It looked like you were going to get a fair amount of Ashes, and you even have that Brittle Steel to just take one extra blocker off the table. This is why we saw Heimer with Ionia for so long. The Deny feels like a pretty important spell. And Ionia was one of the least represented regions in this tournament. I believe it was Piltover Zon followed by Ionia in terms of lowest. And I think that's why I like the Harrowing deck even more, where there's a very low presence of Deny in a tournament like this. Your Harrowing deck actually finds a lot more good matchups than it would have before.
And actually, yeah, it's funny enough, the decks that are running Deny tend to be the Lee Sin decks, and they're very underrepresented. And they also didn't seem to be having too much success when they were played. So I don't really think you're too worried about Deny, like you mentioned. And I think you can kind of pretty freely go into this turn, rip this Harrowing off, and just get this giant board of Ashes on field with the Rhymefang Wolf. Looks like 2 Babbling Bjergs are going to pop out as well. And this is the turn, or at least one of them. I imagine we're going to start to see some more, or another Ruination come down later as SharkGui is playing 2 of them. And I got it. All right, there's still no Go Sultans in chat. You guys are slacking. Where are the Go Sultans in chat?
So I full screened the Luxheimer deck list to make sure that there's nothing in the spell lineup that stops this. And I found it, and then he took it off the table because it was back-to-back. And maybe even like back-to-back single combat, because the units are ephemeral. You don't actually have to kill them in order to. You just have to strike them, and then because they strike you back, they die because they're ephemeral. It doesn't matter that the health total doesn't reach 0. So we could have seen like a back-to-back and to line up some blocks into double single combat, and I think that would have been enough to live, but instead goes through a progress. They obviously didn't have that combination of cards, but I think that would have been an opportunity for Lion King to actually live through the turn. Probably wouldn't have won you the game, but you would have lived.
Yeah, and we see 2-mana Flash of Brilliance come out, and a T-Hex hitting the board here, going to level up the Heimer. Man, it feels so good to drop a T-Hex onto the board on the side of Lion King, but still going to be a huge turn, huge attack anyways for SharkGui, getting the Crystal Arrow here, leveling up the Ash as well. Wow. So
if you top decked a back-to-back off of that progress day, do you live? No.
I don't think you do.
Well, hold on. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you got... Okay, never mind. I was going to say, if you got back-to-back single combat, you actually live at 1, I think.
Wow, man.
Like, you would have had to pronounce on your... Like, you would have had to gotten both of them off of the progress day, and that's just a little bit too much.
Yeah, wow. I mean, so Zombie Ash is still... we mentioned this briefly earlier. I really feel like there's not a whole lot of people that play Zombie Ash, but it's so good. Like, I feel like every time we see this deck play, it very consistently is able to pull off the strategy of, I see your board, I raise you with a bunch of ashes that make your board basically obsolete because nobody can block anyways. I feel like it's such a strong deck, and it actually has been. It's just people don't want to play it for some reason.
I mean, like I had mentioned, one of the big things is that it's hard to get practice with. Playing it on ladder, you're almost certainly going to have a bad time and get dejected off of the deck. It really comes down to whether or not you have scrim partners. So I feel like that's part of it.
Well, for this game anyways, we are going to see the deep deck on the side of Lion King up against the TF Swain now. And, all right, we always go through the deep deck. We take a look at, what iteration we're seeing here. We do not see Lure of the Depths. I repeat, no Lure of the Depths, but also no Miscall. 0.
We also don't see Atrocity or Ruination, which are two of the big spells that we generally look for. And it is weird to me that running a deep deck into an Ace Hole format and not running anything like the Lure of the Depths in order to get down your units a little more aggressively, or the Atrocity for the over-the-top finishes. Instead, Zhao Ti looks like he's playing a very honest sort of deep deck.
Whoa. We agreed on Lion King. Good, sir.
Yeah, I know. It said it because I read it off the screen, and I was like, I'll call him Lion King next time.
So, and it's interesting. So I think we've seen kind of 2 or maybe even 3. There's a lot of different variations of deep, but this one in particular is going with the 2 Grasp and 2 Withering Wail. And I think we had talked before about how Vengeance and Ruination gets a little bit more value in the current meta, just with so many late game control decks like War Mothers and Aurelian Soul. So I'm not crazy about this build on the side of Lion King, but again, I mean, he has made it this far, so we'll see if he's able to take home a win with this deep deck after losing that first game there, which I will now update in the top left-hand corner of the screen.
It does feel very anti-aggro tech with this hired gun. There's also only 2 Jaw Hunters, and this might be the first time I've ever seen only 2 Jaw Hunters in a Sea Monster deck. So really valuing the early game, and that's sort of the problem that we saw Len run into earlier, is just overvaluing the presence of aggro in the format and then running into these later game decks and just not being able to get it done. TF Swain, not really one of those decks. I think that your anti-aggro tech is going to get a little more value here than it might in other matchups, but I don't know that it's necessarily going to be enough. Both these players are just kind of biding their time. I think that SharkGui has a really good hand, a lot better than we've seen out of TF Swain decks so far this tournament. A lot of them have really been kind of, low to the ground in their hand. They haven't really found the threats in a timely manner. We've seen a lot of them get to turn 10 without ever finding a Leviathan or a Riptide Rex, just trying to put out these units for the chip damage, which doesn't work super well against the deep deck that Lion King has brought, as he is on that Grasp and Withering Wail plan.
And we'll see what SharkGui decides to do next year. Already has that Swain on board. Looks like, considering the Twisted Fate play, but opts for the Make It Rain instead. So it will hit everything nicely. So it might be setting up for a flock here onto the Abyssal Eye, possibly. Which means I imagine he's going to try to, get through this fearsome attack with the Swain. I'm not sure if that's going to work out or not. Really is going to depend on what Lion King has in response to that Make It Rain.
There are a couple of ways you could push through the Swain attack this turn. One of them is the Make It Rain into the flock, into the Arachnoid Sentry, onto whatever. Oh, is this going to put him? I mean, if he goes deep this turn, it takes the flock play off the table. I was thinking gold card into Arachnoid Sentry onto whatever comes down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and now you've got him quite. Even if Lion King doesn't go deep, he's gotten into SharkGui's head a little bit. He's got him questioning.
Yeah, it's like, can he possibly do that? And it really, it does feel like when that Make It Rain was played by SharkGui, he wasn't actually even considering that this Abyssal Eye could just level up, quote unquote, and go deep. But Definitely considering it after that jettison, so I do like that kind of priority passing with the jettison, giving it back over to SharkGui, and just going to go ahead and, all right, just rips the flock and prays, and it gets through. I like to see it. Going to take some risks, right?
Yeah, and I mean, now Lion King has to develop a blocker, because otherwise SharkGui's pushing through 8 damage. The Devourer are going to come down, and that does mean that either the Twisted Fate's gold card or the Arachnoid Sentry is going to come down here. I like the Twisted Fate a little bit more since you do have the salvage in hand. I mean, we just saw Cephalopod fall to not respecting the Twisted Fate level up. Lion King probably going to have a little bit of an easier time removing it since he does have the Grasp of the Undying. This is a pretty big attack turn.
Yeah, it is, and the Swain now leveling up too, so this is, whew, you want a big attack turn. This wrecks Lion King's board. I mean, this, I think, is just going to put SharkGui in a position to be able to just pull this game out. This is a really rough spot for Lion King to be in right now.
I was seeing, someone said puke in chat, and it just reminded me that it does look like Swain's just kind of like throwing up all over the board.
That's a pretty good comparison, not going to lie.
And now, I mean, look at this. We are 1 turn away from the double Riptide Rex that SharkGui has available. I mean, this is a Nautilus coming down that will soak up the... Oh, okay. I didn't think we were going for the stun.
Yeah, it looks like...
I mean, I guess we're just going for the big open attack, but it's not like we're representing lethal. I mean, now I'm getting... I can't see your hand, SharkGui. Don't shit talk your opponent. Let me see.
No, I don't know. Was he communicating with our chat?
I don't know.
Are the players now pulling up their chat in game to talk to us while we're streaming?
It's not out of the question.
Jesus. So we're gonna get. Yeah, he was. So Brandon chat. Yes, I love it. SharkGui with the 10-headed chat conversation. This is amazing. So we're gonna get the full-on attack SharkGui shouting out to the crowd. That's a true tournament player right there.
All right, so it looks like, is this double whale? Oh, it is double whale. Wow. That's gonna let him live.
That is gonna let him live.
I mean, Riptide Rex is still gonna come down, but I mean, that's not even gonna kill the Nautilus.
No, I mean, Nautilus is a beast of a card. It's one of the cards that every time we do see Riptide Rex, it kind of just defeats it.
Flock and Riptide kills the Nautilus.
Yes, yeah. And we also have 2. We have 2 Riptides, so very possible we get another Riptide on the following turn, depending on if any damage can be done. And it looks like he is going to go with the Nautilus plus Flock here. And it looks like, according to chat, he said, I am so good. Or specifically, I like that one better. I'm a monster of Swain TF. I like that one. So here's the Flock. And wow, somehow, through that tough, being able to
That's probably the most convoluted way I've ever seen a Riptide or a Nautilus die. Is Swain ability into... And the Nautilus isn't even leveled. How does Lion King ever actually come back into this game? Nautilus number 2 is a pretty good start, but unless it goes deep right now...
Yeah,
you're still on thin ice here, bud.
He's also got the salvage to draw 2 cards. I think this one is probably wrapped up, so we'll see. If Lion King's able to get Nautilus deep, then it will at least that's a damn good pull with Petty Officer. Then he will at least be able to block the Swain. So we'll see if that is what happens here. Yeah, here we go. Salvage.
I mean, Nautilus's Riptide is back online. There's only 1 in the deck though, so can't find 2 of it. I think he needs 2 of it to live.
Yeah, is this... Okay, yep. Deep we go, it looks like. So we will be able to block the Swain, but now the question is, what about the rest of the board? I don't know if he lives. What else could he have? We have Grasp. There's no...
No, I think you need Nautilus's Riptide in conjunction with another spell. 8 mana is not enough for any 2 removal spells in the deck, at least not ones that are going to be impactful, and it looks like this Riptide Rex all the way to the left is just going to be able to cinch this one out for SharkGui, taking pretty quick victory over Lion King, and will be getting his invite into this Ascent of Targon Invitational. Our first North American player has qualified. It is SharkGui from Team Sultans.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't want to be wrong on that. I did not want
to be wrong. That was so anticlimactic. You're like, and our first player is Sultan from... Wait, Team Sultans? So, yes, SharkGui gonna go ahead and qualify. Let's go. good to see some Team Sultans representation. Myself and Boulevard have casted plenty of Brazilian events with Team Sultan representation. There, thank you. Thank you. I have been waiting for the Go Sultans, just like in like the actual picture in chat, and finally we get it. So Go Sultans indeed. Trevo in chat as well, also qualified for the EU tournament. So Sultans killing it in this qualifier. Awesome to see. All right, so SharkGui is going to go ahead and advance, taking down Lion King there as the second to qualify for the Invitational. But as always, everybody stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you. Peace out.